Okay, so Blood Bowl news time in the world of Games Workshop. It's been, I don't know, guys. Has it been busy? Has it not been busy? There was a spike, like, well, there was literally a spike, wasn't there? A spike happened when a spike came out, and loads of models got previewed and released and awarded, and then it really this year so far, the biggest thing to happen is the Norse preview and the Goblin Star players. Right? Have I missed anything else in the last 2 weeks?
Was it the preview, or was it just like they're kind of coming because the Yetis it?
Well, do you know
Is that
what?
all we've
the
had so far?
accidental spill.
Well, what the
Yeah.
Norse bit? Yeah, I mean, with the Goblin Star players, I completely missed that they're up for pre-order yesterday, as the podcast comes out Saturday. So they're up for pre-order now. Trips pointed this out, and I was like, oh, I've missed this. Like, I'm just so used to it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm just so used to them saying, hey, here's a model, you might buy it one day. One day, tell your kids about the Croxagore because they're gonna love it. You know. And yeah, but no, Trips pointed out that the goblins are up for pre-order now, and they do come in a pack. There were some guys who were at the. Did you know there was a Blood Bowl event at the same weekend as Beachhead? I'd missed this. Yeah, there was a Bugman's Bugman's
Warhammer
Bash.
World, wasn't it?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
Warhammer World, and some of the prizes, I think, or some of the spot prizes, or I don't know if that's how Games Workshop work, or whether it's just you can buy this early. But some people picked up the pack, and in a blister you get both the Goblin Star players.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
We were waiting to find out whether that was going to be the case or not.
We expected it would.
Yeah,
So that's good.
it would have been.
It'll be a bit a
Oh,
pill to swallow, but I'm one at a time.
yeah. I mean, right, but where do you draw the line? I want to go into this in undue negativity, but you guys have seen the Forge World scroll, right?
Yeah.
He's got less mass than a halfling catcher, less mass than a goblin. Like the goblin with the chainsaw that comes in the 3-pack, way less resin. Probably way more resin, sorry. Probably less parts. Scroll came in about 13 parts. But I don't know. This one's all right, where you get two for one. That's okay. Buy one, get one free on your Goblin Star players. Is positive. Anyway, Goblin Stars are out this weekend, but you guys did some digging, and we've got some other bits and bobs kicking around, but it's mostly like stuff that's coming. So one bit was the Vortice miniatures. They're doing a Drakenblood Knighters Vampire Kickstarter, and on their Facebook page there is, and let me just check the screen to make sure that we are, there we go, zoomed in as we can be. Have you guys seen the previews for their vampire team?
Oh, is this the Red Dragon Knights?
It is,
Red
yeah.
Dragon Knights.
Red Dragon Knights.
Wow, what a load of detail.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a really good point, actually. Can I do this? I can do this. So if we
Are
zoom
these
in.
printed or are they resin miniatures?
So Vortice recently, Kickstarter-wise, they did the... What was their most recent actual team Kickstarter? The Khemri one. Then they did the
I think it was, yeah.
STLs. Then they did the STLs for the stadium, right? As for whether this is going to be physical or STLs, I don't know if they've said yet. But
I mean, this is a real stress test for printers, but you know, they can do
I
it.
would hope
but
it's not printed because that detail levels, so many people aren't going to get that, and it's just going to be disappointing. But
and we're recording. Okay, so at the beginning of the podcast, we said, ha ha ha, our events always come with weather warnings, and at one point in time, a global pandemic. I'm not saying we're responsible, just that the timing of our events falls pretty horribly around. What did we have? We had floods, we had snow, we had torrential heat wave. That was brutal. That tournament was very brutal.
Oh, that was
bad.
that was moist.
Yeah, it was soggy. It was a soggy tournament. Then we had Beachhead, where we were all, like 2 years ago, we were all kind of looking at the news about the issue in China, and we were like, oh wow, I wonder what's going to happen there. And 2 years later, we're back at Beachhead, and we get severe weather warnings, and everyone's like, no, don't go to school. And then yeah, my power went out in the middle of recording this because I live in the New Forest, where we have electricity, but it's mostly powered by wishes. And my wishes ran out. So we are back, and we are talking about vampires. And during the break, we educated Ben on some of the fineries of Judge Dredd and the Death Judges, because one of the pieces of art, or one of the bits of the vampire kit from the Vortice miniatures, has properly got a Judge Death helmet. You got to question the actual shape of this dude's like actual head, but I mean, he seems
It's
to
a
be
vampire.
yeah,
Get away with
he seems
anything.
to be doing pretty well. But I think before we were taken off air significantly and plunged into darkness for a brief, split, terrifying second, where just the after image of the podcast was burned into my retinas as I felt around to try and figure out what the heck was going on. We're talking about the level of detail on these, and yeah, I think you guys are right. It's got to be resin. Got to be resin cast. The Greeblood prints are very detailed, but this is, I don't know, this is like
It's not like sculpted detail so much as it is like texture detail, which obviously is still sculpted, but how well that comes out on that scale, and after you've done the masters and you've cast it and things like that, it is, casting's really good at capturing detail still, but to get that really is it worth it? And when you've painted it, is it really going to show? That's my only concern.
I'm with you. There's one guy who's holding what looks like the head from the bus in Harry Potter, and on his armor, he's got what can only be described as a 1960s carpet scheme.
Yeah.
And I think, one gentle coat of primer, and that's probably gone.
It's all go.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just need to rattle a can of Agrax near it, and all that detail is going to go away.
That being said, detail's good because it does give the option of printing at a higher scale. So if you did want these at large scale, they're going to scale up beautifully.
Awesome.
That's what I was going to say. Is these models with their size and their shapes, and I know we were joking about Judge Dredd, but they've got like a real. You guys have been in Forbidden Planet, right? Where you go in there and you look at all the board games, and then they've got these glass cabinets with a bunch of Batmans that are like £85. These guys have got that quality to them in their posing, in the level of detail. It's incredibly impressive. They're kind of monkeyish, like simian in look. I think the faces are for the vampires.
Yeah, I can kind of see that.
Half lizard, half thing. I don't know. I like it. You can definitely tell it's Vortice, but I mean, if you look at the work they did with the Tomb Kings one, and then look at this, there is some leveling up here. Like, this is what unnecessary sculpting quality. The Vortice stuff before was kind of novelty.
This is definitely the top tier, and I mean,
Yeah.
if you wanted a vampire team now, this looks like straight to the top of the pile of options, as long as they come out like that and you're willing to
even
spend
if
a lot of time painting trim.
Yeah. Just a bit of a dry brush, it'll be fine. The Punga Vampires, awesome stuff, but this is a very different army. So you guys called it out that it's the Red Knight vibe, and it definitely looks like if you're an old school Warhammer Fantasy Battle player, this is what's the Red Dragons bloodline. It's really quite cool. Really cool. We don't know any specifics on when the Kickstarter's going live or anything like that, and we'll do our best to try and get a hold of some of the models ahead of it, see if we can't do a video review, because the team is looking pretty cool so far. And yeah, one to watch, I guess. Next up on the list, we had Brute Fun with the Minotaur, Ben, that you stumbled across the other day. Is that right?
Yeah. So I saw him upload this on Reddit, and I had to share it. It's definitely. I mean, he said Minotaur star player, big Grashnak vibes from him. I saw the classic shoulder pad and things like that.
Oh yeah.
But my word, as Minotaurs go, as you said, trips for the other one, I think straight to the top of the pile. I think this is so good. It's so Blood Bowl. It's so on theme. Absolutely nailed it. And I know we like Brute Fun. We had him on the podcast a couple of episodes ago.
John's awesome.
Awesome sculptor. Really your hobbyist. And this is just great to see.
What did you say? What did you say the reason was that he sculpted this?
We wanted a break from the high elves.
Wanted a break from the high elves.
I'll have a break and just knock out a Minotaur.
I'll just bored of sculpting elves for now.
The best Minotaur that exists.
Yeah,
for Blood Bowl.
This is really, really, really cool. Now this is what $3.50. I bought the STLs this morning. I was going to get them on print, but then I realised I actually ran out of gloves, so I had to wait for my Amazon delivery to turn up. and the file's called Grash. So
Oh, is it called Grash?
yeah,
Okay,
the actual individual STLs are called Grash, and I was like, yeah, absolutely bang on. So we'll get, Brute Fun does excellent models. They fit with the Blood Bowl vibe really, really well on. It's not difficult to find good 3D STL of Minotaurs. There are billions of
This
them.
is true.
But this has just got, I think you guys got it. He's got the shoulder pads. He's got that Blood Bowl vibe. This will fit in perfectly with the Chaos team. Like, actually, like this will fit in with the Chaos team probably better than the Jason Statham Games Workshop one.
I totally agree. Totally agree. It's really got Chaos Team fun.
Now, I'm very glad that when we interviewed John, we did ask him, like, how much would it take? Like, are you, if Games Workshop offered you a job, would you take it or not? And he said, no, I would not. So the good thing is we'll have at least have John free for a while until Games Workshop come along and gazump in. Anyway, yeah, this is an STL only file, so if you are a 3D printer, you can grab it. It is not supported. I think you'll have to support it yourself. But generally what happens on Reddit is someone supports it and then shares it back with them and says, hey, I've supported this, it works really well, please, knock yourself out. That's what happened, I think, with the Black Orc team. I'm really waiting for that to happen with the Lizardman team. I've supported them myself and they've been okay, but man, it's just easier filling. I just like to print things Tetris, I think, more than I like to play Architect. But yeah, cool bit of news there from Brute Fun. Then we had Wire Games, or Wire Games, spelt like Gaia with a W, used to be WA Games, and they're working on an Amazon team at the moment, and they've been sharing some of their sculpts. And there's a couple of bits in there that I really like the look of. You've seen the one with the skull face on what appears to be a thrower?
Yeah, what sort of the bird skull, like the avian sort of skull?
Yeah, it looks like a big crow skull. This is looking pretty good, and Amazons can fall into the trap of being very tropey, I think is probably the polite way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And these look like feral people. They, they're not completely ridiculously dressed. They look like they're jungle warriors in every kind of way. Oh, and they're supporting the NAF bid from Alicante in Spain, which is interesting.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. We'll have to talk about the NAF World Cup in a second. But yeah, this is looking pretty good. I'm going to give them a shout, see if we can get hold of some of these models and when it comes around to the Kickstarter, because we've had a look at the last two of theirs. Their casting quality I've found to be excellent, and assuming this is going to be like they've done with their other Kickstarters, then the models are going to come out looking exactly like the sculpts, and if the sculpts are your style, then this is pretty good. And I mean, how do you guys feel about this? We've seen the spoiler for Norse, and with Games Workshop's release schedule, that makes me feel way safer about picking up an Amazon team. It makes me way more interested.
I agree. It's like we figured, we've definitely said before, I think if they weren't going to do two teams, it would be Amazon and Norse, just because of the sort of real world connotations and things like that. It's still based on like culture, and that might be a dangerous thing to touch. But now they're doing Norse. I think we'll definitely see Amazon at some point in the future. I don't know if either team are going to be the same as they are. Like Norse might be a bit different, Amazon's might be a bit different. So there's that little skepticism in my mind of like, if I do get an Amazon team now, is it going to be the same Amazon team? But I think there's probably nothing that will change which will make it drastically different than just, if they add a new position or give one a different color t-shirt or something.
Yeah, that works brilliantly. You've always got the base edge technique as well. We just paint the color of the bedge and the color of the base edge.
I like the bedge.
What do you reckon, Trips? The bedge? Paint the bedge?
Well, I think if you're going in on a team that hasn't been updated, it's best to get as much and as many of the positionals as you can, because you can then, as you said, play around with it if they do tweak the team. If you go for a simple 11 or 13 players, you are going to get caught probably by a positional switcheroo.
Yeah, somewhat limited.
Those minis look really nice and they're really well done. We've seen a lot of Amazon teams that are maybe not quite as family friendly. These ones look very safe to play in all environments.
And at Beachhead, we did see saw quite a few Amazon teams, and I think did we see an Amazon team piloted by a little Amazon of our own? I think one of the days. Yeah, and it's cool, and that's something that actually I think is quite important, is having a team that speaks to people but does so in a way that is a a good representation of the family-friendly fun that killing people on a Blood Bowl pitch is all about. Strange society, but I'm on board with it. Looking like a pretty cool one, so going to have to keep an eye out for that from Wire Games. Wire, I can't get it right. Gaia with a W. Right.
Like where?
Succubus Studio, they're the guys who did that really kind of the infamous vampire team now, haven't they? And they have put out, I don't know if we've seen any of the models yet, but there is a
no models yet.
Sylvans team coming, which very much looks like it's going to be Wood Elves with a hint of Batman Forever in there.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Wood Elves and cheerleaders by the looks of things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. There is another Wood Elf team that's kicking around. I just saw it during the power cut actually, so I was flicking through. I didn't take a note of where it was, but there was two catchers, and they were like, oh, what's the goat people, but not beastmen, like half elf with goat legs. Satyr.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Satyr. I don't know how to say it, but yeah, they look like them.
Satyr.
I don't know if it's going to be the Sylvans team or not, but there might be another Wood Elf team kicking around. But
okay,
again, one to watch. So that's what, like 3-4 Kickstarters we've got to keep an eye out for. And there's one more we've got on the list as well, which is the Chibi Bowl from Akaro Dice. This, I mean, this is definitely in the same market as the Grebo miniature stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, this looks like a little bit of fun, completely out of scale, deliberately. Miniatures with huge heads, bit more cartoony. Yeah,
definitely market for it.
This okay. If you're listening to the podcast and you're like, what does this look like? The best way I can describe this, there's two ways to describe it. The first would be to say, if Clash of Clans was Blood Bowl, this is the kind of thing I think most of these guys here would fit in nicely on one of the TV adverts. And what's that? What was the little chibi game? The little Simon game that had little chibi dudes running around? Arcadia Quest? Like that kind of...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Super
fun.
Dungeon Explore, that kind of chibi vibe. And I don't know, I think it's fun. I mean, we've got the animal teams from Grebo, the Cutimal teams that kind of go for this cartoony, over-exaggerated size, and the chibi team here, especially with the little Groot dude and the little ogre. I think this is really cool. I think this is a really interesting way to kind of... I can see this being quite popular with younger players. Like, you get a little Chibi Sevens team.
Just thinking that, I was thinking, wonder if I can persuade a nearly 4-year-old that this is the thing to get her into Blood Bowl.
Oh, the little Chibi Troll Slayer is amazing. Look at that. Oh, I like that. I think that's quite cool. I'm actually quite excited for this. This is just it's a really cool thing. There's a new style for Blood Bowl. There's some of the animals, the Cutimals teams and things like that. But actually, the great thing about Blood Bowl is you can use anything. You can even use a Lego, right? You can use basically any model, and this is like another cool style.
Yeah,
I've not seen any Akaro teams before, so it might be. I don't know what the price point's going to be, but I don't know. What do you guys reckon?
I got no. I think I'm the same with you. I've not seen one before. I think if all the models shown here is like the full Kickstarter, it's probably not going to be too much.
Yeah,
I think it's a lot. I mean, I've got the Leprechaun team myself, and they're a bit of fun.
Is it Akaro?
No, but it's that style, isn't it? That over-exaggerated chibi style. Yeah, that's cool. And again, another one to keep an eye out for. There's just a lot kicking around, which I think is really, really, really cool.
We were just saying that while you were putting 50p in the meter again. Is
I was plugging the wires back in.
About Blood Bowl is you very rarely see people turn up with the same teams because there are just so many third-party teams that are really good. And that makes it a really bit of fun when you see a tournament full of teams and spend most of your time looking at what people have done rather than how bad they're bashing you.
You're right. I mean, with the strength and the selection of third-party teams out there, I actually think it's a huge testament to Games Workshop when you see multiples of a type of one of their teams. Like the Snotling team is, you will see multiples of that team, because I don't think there is a Snotling team out there that's better than it. But almost every other race, someone's got like an alternate sculpt they like. If you're a Skaven player, you're always kind of eyeing out for other Skaven stuff. If you like Black Orcs, you might be running Brute Fun or Grebo. For like dwarves, there's 100 different dwarf teams. So it's really cool, and it's a bit of a testament when they pull it off. But yeah, having those different ones is really, really cool. So a couple of bits. This one's great. I like this. Couple of bits to go over. There is a tournament down the road from us called the School of Hard Blocks. This is being run by a guy called Travis, or Duffins, who won our Stunty Cup at Bonvember, actually. Goblin mad person, this. So, hey Ben and friends, first I'd like to share my appreciation for the Bonehead podcast. Thanks for the entertainment you provide via your many podcast episodes and videos. Can I be very, very cheeky and ask for a short plug of my first Blood Bowl tournament, School of Hard Blocks Tournament 1, taking place in Blocksworth Social Club, Dorset, from 10 o'clock in the morning on Saturday the 12th of March. It's one day...
No, you can't.
Yeah, definitely can. Definitely. It's a bit of a surprise we don't get more people asking to share their tournament info.
Yeah, feel free, because it's like we love to see, like,
hugely.
Honestly,
and we may even be able to come.
As well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, if we don't know about it and we're free, we might end up being there. So,
right, £15 for a ticket, 1.15 million with 160k for skills. No tiering and no star players except for stunty teams. Duffins goes on to say it's not in tournament, but it is at least in the south of England. For an idea where Blocksworth Village is, it's roughly halfway between Poole and Dorchester. I've got the link for Talk Fantasy Football where it's on, which is in the show notes below. But this was pretty cool. The clincher is that I'm making crochet goblins, ogres, and such as special prizes. And I've got a picture here as well. If that's not the sort of thing you guys do, then no biggie, understand. I thought I'd ask regardless, but would love to get some more people down there, maybe even yourselves. At the very least, I got to share my appreciation of the podcast. Many thanks, Travis. Awesome. I mean, we love tournaments, so this is great to see and great to hear, especially if it's only down the road. Now, I cannot make it because I will get murdered by my wife, because on the 5th, I'm playing Heresy, I think, potentially, and then on the 19th playing Dungeon Bowl all day with at least Milton. So if 3 Blood Bowl weekends in a row,
risky.
Yeah, I know, can't be risking that. But I got a picture of the crochet goblins and ogres up here, and that is just so good. So I won't be able to come, but we can probably get some prize support down there. So I will I'll drop Travis a message, because it's a very cool thing to have. And it's great to see more Blood Bowl tournaments. I don't know, March the 12th, 1.15 with 160k for skills, with no tiering and no star players. What would you guys take in that? That's basically a 1300 TV team at that point, with 1.15 for buying stuff and then skills. I always find that that's quite a lot of money, actually. Skaven and Underworld, but then you don't get hack for them, so Underworld don't need that much money. Skaven do really well at 1500, at 1150. You get a full whacker team, 3 rerolls, thrower, 4 gutters, and a roger for 150 on top. So 1.15 Skaven. I mean, I'm obviously inclined to go Skaven, but that gets you the roger, and then you get 160k of skills, which is a couple of block gutter runners. Accurate thrower.
I'm thinking also, I know I'm probably because it's the most recently I'm familiar with, but nobility at that point is really good, because I'm pretty sure you can get every positional at that point. Normally, if you want to take an ogre, you're giving up a couple of bodyguards, but with all of that money, I think you can get the lot.
Yeah. Can you?
So
could you afford? You might not be able to afford the 3rd reroll, but then you can always just have a leader caddy to chuck it in
exactly.
on there. Yeah. So the troll, 4 wrestlers, 4 blockers, 2 throwers, 2 to 3 rerolls, and then you've got the leader caddy there as well, which is only going to be 20k, giving you 7 skills to put around. That's a couple of guard. That's guard on the ogre as well. That's obviously kick. Yeah, I like that. That's a pretty good tournament level. That'd be really interesting to see how that goes. What team would you take, Trips? Ooh, Trips, I've lost your volume. I've lost your voice.
Maybe we'll turn the mute off. That'll help. The phrase of the nowadays. I think nobility's a good call because I think the skills package could really help them. I'd be quite tempted with no stars to see what kind of inducement package some of those stunty teams could rack up, because actually they might really be able to get a little bit of everything.
But the stunties can still take stars.
Still take the stars,
Yeah.
can't they?
Which is difficult because you can run a really solid Snotling team, 1150. Yeah, 1150. You can still run Hack Flame and everything. That's basically what I took to Sandbowl last year. Maybe 50k less, so one less bribe or something. You can be pretty competitive.
I think an ogre team potentially at that kind of value.
Yeah.
You could really fill an ogre team out nicely. Probably go with a full ogre build and still have some players to actually do some ball movement with.
Yeah, and seeing as you can't spam block anyway, there's only maximum of skill one skill twice. So if you're sacrificing that,
Yeah,
you may as well do it on a strength 5 team.
absolutely. 40k for doubles though means you only get 4 doubles across your team. I don't know. It's intriguing. I love roster building, and we're going to come to and talk about a bunch of the most successful rosters from our tournaments of the weekend. But before we move on, just want to say a massive thank you to everybody out there who supports us, whether it's by watching our videos, liking, subscribing, and doing all the YouTube things that it is an absolute meme, but we appreciate your support, or one of the myriad of people who jump on Patreon and support us in there. So new patrons for this week, we got Sven Lemcool, Michael Bullman, David Fitchett, David Ankers, Chris Tweddle, Cryptic Chimera, Andres Timmel, Trevor Turner, Cotter Bap Grave, the God of Chuck, which is probably the coolest Patreon name we've got so far, Catherine Peterson, Jeremiah Roberts, David Priest, I'm assuming that's of the Priest clan, the Priest pack, Tom and Ben Smith. So massive thank you to everybody out there who supports us. It means that we can do all the stuff that we do. And talking about all the stuff that we do, let's take a quick break and go into hobby, and we'll talk about the stuff that we do and the stuff that we've done. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to help support the channel even further, please like and subscribe, or come join us on our Patreon. We have early access to content. We get loads of feedback from you guys, and we try and do competitions as much as we can. Or you can get yourself some Bonehead podcast merch on our Spreadshirt site. So if you want to support a team, especially for the Bonehead Championship, you can pick up a shirt, a mug, things like that. It all helps support the channel, and we really appreciate it. Anyway, links below. Thank you very much. Happy blocking.